Friends. Friday Night Silliness. Reinstated. Oh, no. Alright. Oh, I forgot to say good luck, have fun. How's everyone doing? It's Friday. I'm obviously by myself. Let's battle. Playing against Claudio, 57. Alright, let's Grand Prix it. I think the Grand Prix is, at least my, very outdated and lame theoretical knowledge says that if black goes d6 rather, you're a little bit more happy to play the Grand Prix attack. All right, I'll give him should I? No, I'm just going to take this thing. I'm going to play the only plan I know, obviously, which is to put your queen on h4. And then just go f5 and drop the hammer. I hope everyone's having a good week so far. I am super happy it's Friday. We have the Dark Cove edition of Friday Night Silliness because I have this gem, this magical copper fluid. This is my first glass, by the way. I'm not drunk. Before anyone chimes in the comments. Oh, come on with this. Play in the center. When I'm trying to play on the flank, it's just rude. Okay, so if I go f5 and he goes g takes f5, I feel like I'm pretty happy to maybe say I have compensation after bishop g5. If f5, e takes f5, I don't even know. I mean, this is not the kind of chess that I played. I played 1e4. I played the Grand Prix attack. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Now, bishop h6 maybe was what I was thinking. And then if he castles, I'm just going to go knight g5 and smack him over the head. That was my general plan. Taking here seems kind of insane. While taking here, of course, I'm just going to take here. But I kind of meant something like, takes here. Maybe I can just go knight g5 in that case. And he's in some trouble. Playing d5 does come with some risks if you haven't castled yet. Opening up the game, when your king is on e8. So knight g5 a lot of times can be met by f6, but in this specific position, I think I have knight e6. Let's drop the smackdown crackdown on this guy. I have a coach who, my first coach in chess that took me from having never played a tournament in my life to around... What was I when I kind of went off to college? I would say like 1800, something like that, 1900, USCF. He's a very aggressive chess player, and he's kind of one of these guys who loves all of the shit talking and having fun while you're playing blitz and all that kind of stuff. And so he had sayings for everything. If a bishop would come from b7 to a6 or whatever, you'd be quote-unquote peeking around the corner, or, when you're killing someone, you're dropping the smackdown, crackdown, or you're cracking their skull. He always called knights dogs. He has a very direct chess style. He plays the King's Gambit. His handle on all of the internet chess servers are K Gambit Man. I think on Lead Chess he's KG Bird, but... He's a good guy. Shout out to Mike Jolson. I doubt he's watching this. He barely knows how to use a computer, but... And after that, I realized that I just can't play chess like that. It's just not who I am. So now my last two coaches, and my current coach, are very positionally oriented. Play what some people might call dry chess. Claudio's thinking for quite a long time, understandably so, since knight g5 appears to be close to winning. Yeah, this is the only move I could see for him either. I'm just checking e5. Because e5, bishop takes e5, then I can take on f8, and he can't take on g5. His idea is bishop takes f8, bishop takes f6. It's still not good for him, but it's something. So I'm just wondering if I can go e5 first. e5, bishop takes g5 appears to be the only move. Bishop takes g5 is the only move that makes sense, I think. Let's say rook e8. And then bishop f6. Looks sort of legit. h5 would be forced. So e5, bishop takes g5, bishop takes g5, rook e8, bishop f6, h5 box. Apologies if you can hear Morty panting underneath my desk. I really want to checkmate this guy. A decent attacking player probably would have already found the solution. e5, bishop takes g5, bishop takes g5, rook e8, bishop f6, h5. I mean, there's some pretty savage stuff here. I'm looking at e5, bishop takes g5, bishop takes g5, rook e8, bishop f6, h5, rook f3, with the idea of maybe d4, which attacks the rook and the knight at the same time. Maybe I can go queen takes h5, g takes h5, rook g3 check. He has knight g6 in that position too. He also has king f8, so that doesn't work at all. Okay, I'm going to play this anyway. I have a feeling it's just good. Even if I can't find the winning line right away. I mean, one idea is just to go knight e2 to f4, takes h5 or something. Yeah, there's another idea here with e5, bishop takes g5, bishop takes g5, rook e8, bishop f6, h5, queen g5, threatening queen h6, king h7 I think is forced, and then rook f5. He can't play knight takes f5 because it's pinned to the queen, and if g takes h5, then queen h5, king g8, queen h8 is mate, so that's a pretty good idea. And I actually, in that position, maybe it's actually better. It's better without inserting queen g5 and king h7. So if just h5, rook takes f5. He has knight takes. I mean, he could try f6, but that just seems insane. Under pressure pushing down on me. I'm going to try not to choke on my scotch this time. So knight e4, queen d7, knight to f4. Trying to get in. I mean, all of this just seems crushing. Maybe I put the knight on g3 instead. Sack on the f5 square. He's going to go for the okie doke. I might just really calmly play. Oh, he doesn't even want to do that. Yeah, this is over. That's just fact. Getting in. I had another friend that I used to play Blitz with a lot at Starbucks. That was like my local haunt. And he would just say, I just want to get in. He had something of a southern drawl. All right. 5-3 is very tolerable as a Blitz time control. If you sometimes want to play sort of classic, I mean, not classical chess, but you want some time to think. I'm used to playing 3-0 on my phone, which is pretty much the best way to destroy and incinerate your rating. Play a non-increment time control, fast time control on your phone. At least for me, it's impossible. Okay. Good luck and have fun, Ahmed OG. From Scribbles. Things you shouldn't say on camera. Okay. Since this is Friday Night Silliness, I'll try and stick to crap that I don't normally play. Let's play a hedgehog. He doesn't want to. He wants to play King's Indian attack. That's fine. I'm going to put the pawn on d5 before he puts his pawn on e4. And I will play knight b to d7 before I play h6. He wants to go e4, and I'm at least going to make him give up the two bishops. If he wants to do so. This guy's play is far too deep for me. I like space. Let's take some. All right. Bishop d6. Probably bishop d6. Take a look-see at this square, so later I can go e5. Rook b1. If I go a5, it's going to be awfully hard for him to go b4, so I think I'll do that. Sometimes you have to weigh the merits of flicking in a3 and a4. Yeah, I know. He had that a couple moves ago as well. Knight d7 sort of fits into my plan anyway, I guess. I'll just do this. And I'll castle next move. I'll try and go queen c7, bishop c6, something like that. You're asking for it, pal. I'm not going to take. Reason I'm not going to take is because I don't think white has any really active plan here. Like the queen on a4 now inhibits his ability to go b4 because of course a takes b4 as a discovery. So I think it's going to be hard for him. My point is that I think it's going to be hard for him to stop the natural plan of me slowly preparing f5 and e5, and he's just going to have to sit around and await his suffering. Is sort of my idea here. So yeah, let's just do this. And where am I going to want all of my pieces? once I get e5 in. I could just go e5 right away and decide later. I don't know. Let's do that. Queen c7 was another obvious move. The bishop d6, bishop f6. I'm not sure if I want my bishop here or here. A lot of times it makes sense to put it here. That way when you go e4, that d4 is still defended in some way. That's usually more of an issue if white has already gone e3 and e takes d4. C takes d4, because on e4, d4 might be a little bit more loose. Okay, I'm just going to put the lady on c7 here. Probably I want to go something like this. Seems relatively harmonious. I'm not going to play bishop c6. I don't know if I already mentioned that. Because with his queen on a4, it actually makes it really hard for him to get in b4. That's really his only hope of active counterplay. At some point, I can also consider going something like bishop c6, queen c2, a4. He sees it. As soon as I go a4, he's going to go b4 and play a takes b3, rook takes b3, rook f to b1. He'll have something against b6, so if I decide to go that route, I have to be kind of cognizant of that. Okay, I think maybe just knight f6. Again, getting ready to go e4. Queen c2 also at least makes an effort to stop e4. By the way, shout out to Yasser Sarawan, who's on Lee Chess now and is an absolute crazy house addict. This guy plays an unreasonable amount of crazy house, and I love it. Also, shout out to Laken Wecker, who was the suggester of the Dark Cove and a great developer and helper to the Lee Chess squad. And just an all-around good dude. Yeah, this is a little bit irritating. Not sure how much I really care. I can't do anything about it, really, unless king h7, knight f5 is somehow playable. Probably not. Queen d7, knight g6. Okay, I can go knight to e8, actually, which is the move that I wanted to play anyway. Protecting f5, and also I think from d6, this knight is pretty money. Also, there's this super rude trap with knight g6, queen c6. He falls for it. That's some geometry, folks. That's how you do it. That's how you scumbag wins. Yeah, okay. You can have my e-pawn. I'm going to play a weird move. I'm going to play h5. My idea is that immediately f4 might be met by g4 and he's not dead. And I go h5 to prepare f4 when g4 isn't possible, pretty much guaranteeing this sort of structure, which looks good for me. And if he goes h4 like he did in the game, then f4, and I've just coaxed a bunch of extra weaknesses. Now g4, of course, is impossible, and I think white, as I batter down his king side, would much prefer to have his pawn on h2. Like, I think if given the choice, white would like to make the move h4 to h2. Okay, so let's just start bearing down on this thing. Queen g4 is a pretty massive threat. Getting text messages? Oh no, I'm getting Slack messages, even better. f3 is met by queen g3, so that's not very good. Sorry, super professionally, I'm checking my phone while while streaming. It's a picture of whiskey from Lincoln. I swear we're not alcoholics. I 100% promise. Okay, so FG3. Knight here, takes here, check would be a complete and utter blowout. He does have F3 in this position, and then when I take on H4, he has Rook H1. Okay, I mean, I can just play Bishop C7. If he goes F3, I can just retreat my queen to a normal-looking square, and his king side is still being sort of ripped apart here, so... We'll just go here. I could go queen e6 also, but then knight g5 maybe gives him a free move. I don't feel like even thinking about that. It's worth considering in this position, not f takes g3 right away, but knight f6 first, and then knight takes e4, so I can take on g3 with the queen. If I take on g3, obviously I'm kind of killing him here. I mean, I'm just up a piece, and I have a massive pawn on g3, but it does sort of plug up the king side a little bit. Whereas if I go knight f6, and maybe he takes it, and I get to take here check, it's a little bit more of a beatdown. Anywho, I think this is good. He wants to go like king f1 or king f2 or whatever and have the rook be on the g file, but that's fine with me also. All right, you got me. If knight e6 there, I had knight e4. Ooh, we had knight f8. Maybe I didn't. Calculation. Not the most exciting move. But if knight e4 now, bishop f4 to e3 or something, and that looks completely devastating. I can also consider trying to get to this guy at some point. Just like very simple moves, maybe. Putting a rook on e8 would also be fairly wise. Let's just do that. I could take here. There's no real reason to rush it. If I think knight h7, king h7 just improves my position. So now something like this, of course, would hang the e-pawn. So after takes, rook e2. But I'm also just maybe going to go rook e3. Prepare to double, interfere with his protection of the g5 square. Okay, he doesn't like that. I don't blame him. Let's pop this dude in here. Let's play check. All right, he can take on g3 if he wants. I think I'm winning e2 and in all those variations, so I'm okay with that. I need to watch my time. I'm up a piece. I mean, I don't have to do anything crazy. I just have to lop off all the wood. All right. Yeah, you know what? Sure. You got it. Oh, I should have went to g4. I was thinking just like automatically he would take this way. And I was like, okay, I have queen e6 attacking c4, and then he took the other way. Made me look dumb. again, I'm just going to take all the stuff. I don't know why he's trading off everything when he's down a piece, but I'm okay with it. I'm going to blockade those pawns on dark squares for this. In the purest technical form, and I'm just going to improve my king just to be a jerk. No real reason not to. He doesn't have any actual moves. I could probably win by breakthrough with b5 as well. b5, c4. Let's do that. Let's have a sense of humor about this. Okay, I'm in the square, right? Take c4, b6, d6, b7, king c7. Let's do this. I can't wait till I lose this game somehow. I probably could have waited one more move so his king was on h3, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the moment he tries to stop the d2 pawn, I get to go g2 and he's losing. So c3 is a pretty serious threat. I think he's forced to take. Don't try this at home. I'm in the square, bro. Cute. I'll give you that. That doesn't really do anything. That also doesn't really do anything. We're going to do this, huh? This is a big pet peeve of mine in chess. If you're losing, just resign. This is just wasting everyone's time. You're wasting valuable YouTube data. Ahmed, OG. Yeah, no. Yeah, let your time run down. Send me into full-on monkey tilt. What a jerk. All right. I'll take it. That guy was about 30 seconds from a block. Okay. Dark Cove, pretty tasty. Better than Ugadal, which is what I drank last time. Now my taste has been raised, and I can no longer drink $80 bottles of scotch. I was reading this cool article about, I think, I'm one of those guys that sees a cool article and I open it up in a new tab. You know, I hit it with the middle click, and then it sits in that new tab on my browser for what must be 3 weeks before I read it, and this is one of those. I was reading someone, I think it might have just been Google, I'm not sure, used machine learning and image processing algorithms to analyze how often women were on screen in movies versus men, and it was like something disgustingly sad. And I just thought it was a cool application of machine learning and image processing. We need more gender equality, guys. I don't know how it is in Europe, but women get paid noticeably less in the States. Most companies kind of either try and hide it or they make excuses or whatever. But the basic reason is that women have to take off for maternity and, oh, sorry, I played knight f3 and I was doing the silliness thing. Oh, what an a-hole. All right, well, this game will play something that I normally play and then I'll go back. What can I do? I'm already knee-deep and lame. Yeah, this is probably good. Gain the tempo. I'm just going to go knight c3, rook d1, put all my pieces on natural squares. Yeah, women get paid typically less, and especially like maybe I'm super sensitive to it because I'm an engineer and I'm a chess player. Two fields where women are very far behind in terms of representation and that kind of stuff. So I just think it's an important issue. Okay, I'm going to put my knight on d2 with the idea of going to b3. I'm not sure it's the best, but I feel like the c5 square is a little bit vulnerable. Maybe I can put something on it. Force some kind of a concession. I thought a4 here, with the idea that a5, queen b5 was maybe moderately annoying. I'll try it. I would assume that queen b4 here takes, and... All right. I want to go knight e5 and trade off this knight for this knight. The moment I do that, this long diagonal becomes very, very loosey-goosey for black. And my bishops sort of rake the queen side. Yeah, so I was reading this article. It was interesting. Well worth taking a look at and thinking about, I think. You know, go women. That's what I think. They're the better sex. That's for sure. I don't know. Let's put this idiot here. I feel like my position could be better, but what can you do? Knight d5 trying to trade queens does not work because of e4 forking his stuff, I'm pretty sure. But this article, now that I bring it up, I'll try and link to it if I remember. Really. I was interested in this article partly because I used to do image analysis stuff when I worked at NASA. Okay. I got to get rid of this knight because it's languishing on the b3 square. If he wants to play bishop takes d4, probably queen takes d4, and then rook e2. Somehow I think I'm going to be okay there. Seems exceedingly risky. I don't see a direct refutation, but it seems very risky. One idea is bishop d4, queen d4, rook e2, rook c1. Looking to deliver a very painful check on the back rank. And if rook c2 then takes, bishop takes, queen c3, and I'm hitting c8 and here at the same time. All right, that move allows bishop f6. But it also allows queen d8 check, which forces queen to f8, and then I could play bishop f6. And then queen f6, rook e2, bishop b7. This feels like the move regardless. Queen b6 is also pretty enticing. Maybe knight d7, though. Maybe just queen takes f8 and then bishop takes b7. Offers a draw. You funny. No thanks. Not to be rude. I just, I like to play on. I've got an extra pawn. I've got the two bishops. a6 is weak. a5 is... Oh my goodness. I am so bad at chess. Oh my god. No one look at me. No one look at me. Oh. This is why I don't play Blitz. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh, he had knight c7. Pretty much resignable at that point. Actually, this is quite good as well, isn't it? I am unfathomably embarrassed here. God bless America. Oh, man. Son of a bee sting. Yeah, take all my shit. It's fine. He doesn't even have to take it. I mean, rook a1 is just a stupid move. I sort of feel like I have to play it because now knight a6, ba6, rook a5 is impossible. But if he just freaking leaves it, yeah, you a-hole. This burns. Get the heck out of here. This feels so bad. Man, oh Manischewitz. Yeah, play all the good moves. That's fine. Knight d3. Practically forcing checkmate. GG. Even rook h2 probably wins. I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, maybe my pawns mean something in that case, but doubt it. Yeah. You're not mating me, bro. Not yet. You have to play one more reasonable chess move of any kind. For instance, rook a2. Rook a5. b7. Rook a1 check. King f2. Rook b1. Good game. He sees it. All right. What? All right. See, this is. Yeah, I'm not. Okay, I have no justification. I play like shit and I blundered. All right, that's that. Completely winning. Hang a piece. I'm the best. Just bishop c3 and the game is pretty much winning. a5 is protected. I play bishop takes a6 on the next move, and I'm just terrible. I'm not paying attention. It's Friday. I just want to be not in work and enjoying myself. But yeah, I used to do some image processing stuff for NASA when I worked there. I was on a team. All the teams at NASA have stupid acronyms. What was the team? I was on a team called ZBot, but that was for my master's. Clear it was called. Component level electrical assembly and repair. And we were trying to give astronauts the ability to repair the electronics boards on a component level. So usually in the space station, when something breaks, like an electrical board, they're in these big sort of trays, and you essentially just remove a tray and you put in a new tray instead of just fixing anything. And you could see how that would be not the most elegant solution to the problem. Ooh, h3, interesting. It's actually kind of a clever move. I don't know if it's good, but it's kind of clever. The point being, I don't know if he even means to do that. Maybe he's just stopping bishop g4. But one idea in this position is to go c takes d4, e takes d4, e5, f takes e5, d takes e5. D takes e5, knight takes e5, knight takes e5, d takes e5, knight g4. And then I get my pawn back, and he's left with this isolani on e3. And a lot of times it's made more powerful if the knight is on d2, because this bishop on d3 is not defended by the queen anymore. So when these d pawns come off, my queen hits his bishop on d3 and gains a move. And so he delays knight d2 and also stops knight g4. Still feels like maybe I can just go knight h5 instead of knight g4 and have a pretty good position. I could also try and find a useful waiting move. Screw it. Yeah, so we were trying to give astronauts the ability to repair electronics, but one thing that's sort of challenging about it, you would think, okay, they just need a soldering iron, and they need electricity, and that's pretty much it. They need soldering, they need desoldering tools, whatever. But when you're in no gravity environments, natural convection is non-existent. Yeah, it's just gone. Convection only happens in an inertial reference frame, or in a frame in some kind of a situation where you have a body force, and without gravity you don't have a body force. Yeah, and so what happens is air bubbles in the solder don't rise out. They just sit there, and you get crappy solder joints. And so what they did was my team went up in the so-called vomit comet and made some solder joints. And they needed some way to analyze the porosity of these solder joints. And I wrote some C++ code that would take... They had three-dimensional CT scans of these solder joints, and I wrote some computer code that would take slices of the CT scans, and it would identify which piece was the wire and which ones were like the air voids, and then it would calculate the surface area of all these, and it would go through all of them, and it would kind of plot the voids as a function of space, and it would analyze the void percentage and all kinds of crap like that. It was pretty cool. Not to toot my own horn, but toot. It was pretty fun, yeah. And then when I thought that was pretty much the end of that skill, like I would never need to use that again. And then I got to GE, and they wanted to do, shockingly, they wanted to do some image analysis stuff for a lighting product. I was on the quote unquote innovation team at GE Lighting, which was sort of like the research team, and I guess I can just sort of play improving moves, right? I don't have to do anything immediately. I don't know. Maybe F5 is a move. No, I'm not super excited about trading off the dark square bishops. Thanks, though. Yeah, and I was on the innovation team at GE Lighting. I was a thermal engineer. That's sort of what I am by degree and experience. But that kind of work sort of dried up, and I started doing whatever I could find that was interesting. And one of the things we were trying to do... Jeez. So bishop c3, rook takes d8, rook takes d8, b takes c3, rook d3 wins a pawn, rook d1 check, king h2, rook d2, yeah, I'm not sure I even need to do that though. Let's just do this. And yeah, one of the things people started to realize with lighting was that maybe since we already occupied all that space in the ceiling, that it made some sense to try to offer people extra value somehow. And one thing we were looking into was putting cameras into our lighting fixtures to track how, like, let's say you're in a Walmart or a grocery store, it could track how customers are walking around and which aisles they're frequenting, which ones they're maybe not. You can grab customer data like that, or Target is doing this already with different technology. They are they're doing indoor positioning and like leading people to deals in their stores and stuff with a phone app that uses GPS and stuff. But this was actually one of my many run-ins with human resources at GE, where so I was prototyping this stuff at my desk using basically a simple Logitech webcam, and I would hang it up on a sort of an electrical conduit pole that went from my cube to the ceiling, and I just hung it up on there, and I would just track people. I wrote some code that could find objects that were moving around in frames and track them, and this so complicated. Okay, if he wants to give up the exchange with rook g7, he can do that. Yeah, I wrote some code that would track objects that were moving in a stationary background, and the first version of my code would This is not going to be trivial to win, is it? Maybe it's not too bad because G2 is hanging. The first version of my code would just find, some block of motion and then put a dot on the center of mass. Okay, that's losing everything. Would put a dot on the center of mass, and when you start to think about it for a hot second, if you just track some blob walking down the hallway, one of your coworkers, and you put a dot on the center of mass, 99.9% of the time they end up with a dot right on their crotch, which was funny at first, and then my research started getting the the name, Crotch Tracker 1.0 and the crotch tracking project and all that stuff. And which was funny, like you're sitting with your coworkers at work, like, yeah, we're doing the crotch tracker or whatever. But then we have this one girl who will remain nameless, who's just like unbelievably gullible. Super nice, very smart. She went to MIT. She's really great. She dated one of my good friends. She was Vicky, my fiance's roommate. She's super gullible. I mean, like whatever part of her brain kind of processes sarcasm and jokes is just dead. It just died, or she just doesn't have it. And we actually convinced her that for whatever reason, I was actually tracking crotches. Like that was the point of my research, which obviously makes no sense. But we were like, yeah, it's like the heat. There's a lot of blood flow there, whatever. And so we convinced her that the innovation team actively wanted me to track people's crotches as something you would want in your lighting fixtures. And she said as much in a meeting in like her global team meeting, which has like Hungary, Canada, various teams in the United States, and various people in like the management rungs above us. And her meeting was at like 11, and me and my coworkers went out to lunch that day. And when I got back, Human Resources was waiting for me in my cube, like, we gotta talk. And I had to like go into Human Resources office, and like they pretty much put the kibosh on the entire project, even though by then I had already moved on to putting like a bounding box around the person who was walking by. So you'd like the person would be walking by, and then they'd have like a red box around them. And that was what I was doing. And then finally, it took me forever to get approval to work on this again. And then I was forced to work on it in like a basement, like by myself. And and it completely killed the project. But yeah, crotch tracking was one of the highlights of my GE lighting career. That was one of many. Actually, I've had some close calls. But this is way too close to my normal repertoire for a Friday night silliness, but we'll go with it. I had I don't know how to play this position. I'm just going to put a knight on c3. We had a committee at GE. A lot of the young people at GE sort of were required to be in some kind of a committee to improve the quality of the campus. And I was on a committee called the Imagine Committee, which was just a bunch of degenerates. We were all like really good friends, and everyone had a really sort of immature and gross sense of humor. And how bad is this move? Probably pretty bad. I'm just going to go a3. I'll probably go knight c7. Queen c2, perhaps. Yeah. Can I do this? d5, knight takes d5, knight takes d5, bishop b2, queen d2, knight d5, knight b5. Looks interesting. I mean, this is a positionally desirable move. If you go something like rook c8, I can just go queen d2 or queen d3. Probably queen d3. Supporting maybe e4 and also hitting this b5 pawn. But yeah. So I was on this committee called the Imagine Committee, and all of our ideas for improving the GE campus were incredibly dumb, and by design. I mean, like, in the old days, GE used to have a barber and a bank on campus. I mean, it's a big campus. It's like a college. And, our ideas were, like, to bring back the barber and bring back, like, the free car washes. And there were various, like, tunnels that were closed down underneath the ground that people used to use, and we wanted to bring back the tunnels. Just a bunch of stupid crap. I want to play knight a2 to b4, but it hangs d5, so I'm trying to find a way to not do that. Easier said than done, truth be told. I don't know. I'm just going to make a lame move. Yeah, and so we had a bunch of ideas. And one of the ideas, long story short, there was a guy at GE, very confusing. Still to this day, it's extremely confusing. Yeah. Operation Surround the D-Pawn is sort of working. I don't think this move is good, but I'm going to play it. I don't see anything better. This pin along the long diagonal is pretty irritating. Anyhow, so there was this guy who ran the machine shop at GE called Bob Vargo. That was his name, Bob Vargo. And there was a guy who worked on, I think, fluorescent technology named Bob Argo. You can see how this would be confusing. And so one of our ideas for the Imagine Committee was to set up a death match between Bob Argo and Bob Argo. Bob Vargo and Bob See, it's just confusing to say. And keep track of these Bob Argo or Vargos. And we called it Vargo v. Argo was the name of the idea. And by accident, because of stupid Microsoft Outlook's autocomplete, instead of sending just the recap of the ideas to people in the Imagine Committee, I had a friend and an Imagine Committee member with the last name Knapp, Knapp, but there's a very high-ranking manager named another name that starts with K and N that is not Knapp, and I accidentally sent it to him, and I would say within about 30 seconds, I just got an email response back from the manager with double question mark, which is apt, given where I'm telling this story. And yeah, that's about how I felt. Okay. What can I do? I'm losing stuff. There's no way around it. Luckily, he has a good sense of humor. That guy. I'm not proud. Knight d5. Tony Bro, shout out. Just entered. I don't know who you are, but I'm a big fan of yours. Check, sir. Pin to win. Ooh, fancy. I like this guy. Man, it's just like I'm not even better after this. I still feel like I'm worse. After all this. Feels bad. F4. Increasing my discomfort. I'm just trying to be annoying at this point. Takes, king h6, queen d2 check for the win. One time. Aww. You break my heart, Rinaldini. Come on, you can't have the name Rinaldini and speak Espanol, right? Queen b3. Queen b7 will do. The problem is that my rook is very bad, and I can't move it. Pretty much ever. But I'm not sure he has a lot of active options himself, so maybe I can just sit here. He can try and beat me by taking on a4. Probably not good enough. Interesting. Not that interesting. King f2. You suck, Tony. Losing to an 1890 player. Okay, this is clearly not my night. maybe the last game. Hope everyone's enjoying this complete and utter spiral. Terrible game. Just terrible. God awful. I'm going to console myself with a piece of lemon cake once I press the stop recording button, which is going to be very soon. I also apologize. I just realized I'm always doing this and talking, which is probably very faint. It's embarrassing. Feels bad, guys. Any other good stories from my past? Let's see. How did I get talking about this anyway? Oh yeah, women's equality. That's right. Yeah, actually, it's pretty funny. The same guy who I sent the Vargo v Argo email to, a couple years later, I accidentally told sort of an inappropriate story in front of him and all of my younger coworkers. So I was part of a leadership program called the Edison program at GE, where you come in as an engineer and then you get 2 years you rotate around for 2 years to different parts of the business, and you do 4-hour lectures a week with homework. And okay, that's sort of a shitty move, isn't it? You do homework, and you go to week-long training seminars at different places. It's basically a development program for future leaders and, high-level engineers and stuff. And so this guy, whose last name begins with a KN, was doing one of the 4-hour lectures on some kind of internal revision control stuff that we use at GE a lot. And yeah, that's legit. And so we took a 15-minute break. I mean, they're 4 hours long, so we took a 15-minute break. And a couple days previous, I was in a meeting with my boss and one of my friends. And one of my friends was an optical engineer, and he was just doing some freelance work for me and my boss on some project. And we were meeting in my boss's office. And my boss wanted a follow-up meeting. And the way he said it, he kept saying, why don't you just... He was looking directly in my face, like right down the barrel, and he goes, why don't you just schedule a 3-way between me, you, and Ben? Shouldn't have said his name, but between me, you, and Ben, Wednesday, or, whatever day, and we'll loop back around on this. But he just repeatedly kept saying schedule a 3-way, which in English, for those of you guys who maybe are from, I don't know, Europe or whatever, that's like a threesome, or like, a menage a trois, or whatever you'd like to say. And so it's just like a weird thing to say to your coworker. It's like the literally stupidest way to phrase just set up a meeting between me, you, and Ben ever. And he just kept saying 3-way. And so I was telling my younger colleagues this during a break. We're all standing around a table outside while we're taking a break, just sort of shooting the shit. And I was like, yeah, he kept saying schedule a 3-way. And this guy, was standing directly behind me, and no one told me. It's hard to find good friends, is the moral of the story. First Kalashnikov maybe ever on my channel, by the way. Not the prettiest one. I'll tell you that right now. I'm up a pawn. If I can unwind, I'll be very happy. But I've sort of... Oh, I'm just losing exchange. Son of a bee sting. I'm so bad. Oh, dear. All right. Take my stuff. This isn't that bad. This could be worse. I'll bag this knight, and I've got some play. This is playable. This was a playable blunder by me. I should less talky and embarrassing myself with stupid stories and more, play reasonable chess. But this is Friday Night Silliness. I mean, this is what it's all about. It's about bringing my viewers together and companionship and fun and me playing like crap for your general enjoyment. I'm not a good blitz player. I never have been. I've talked about this before on my channel. I think if you just... Chess, and especially like calculation and tactics, to me, it feels like it's kind of a language. And... it's hard to pick up a language and be extremely fluent late in life. That's my perspective. I'm not saying you can't be a good chess player. I'm not saying you can't improve at tactical play. I think you can. But I think there are some challenges. F5. Yeah, I think I sort of want to do this. Maybe F3 is warranted by him. No. Let's go rook d8 first. I don't know if this is better, but something like queen e2 or queen c2, even queen b3 are the natural moves, and those all lose a move to knight d4. Queen f3, of course, e4, but... Queen b3 is his idea. It's not a bad idea. I don't really want to give up my dark square bishop, but... bummer. Oh, it just takes. Bishop c4 also is just crushing, so that's completely out of the question. I guess I can play e4. I mean, my knight coming to d4 or e5 is not bad at all. My opponent is very down on time for some reason. Maybe b5 is coming also. This position is not the worst. This is not the worst exchange down I've ever had in my life, that's for sure. I briefly looked at knight c7. Rook takes d2. Let's go Excuse me, my allergies are really bad. Let's go knight d4. I'm not sure this is actually the best square. Maybe knight e5 is better. Knight e5, there's bishop e4, f e4, queen e5. So knight e5, bishop e4, I'd have to play something else. Knight c4 maybe is possible. But d4 is a pretty monstrous square for a piece in general. This guy's asking to lose his exchange back somehow. So g6, queen g5, knight e2 check, king h1, knight takes c1. Is there any funny business here? g6, queen g7. Could even take here first. Takes there. Check. Takes. It's got to be playable, right? All right, I'm going to do this. Oh my god, he had check first, right? Was I just dead after that? Maybe king g7, queen h7, king f6 is... Chess is hard, man. Pretty confident I have full compensation now. It's important to have a sense of humor in chess. I've said that a lot. I believe that. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Oh, he has rook d1 at the end. Oh, I have check. It's cool. Calculation. All right. I think I can win this. Oh man, you got to win your first Kalashnikov game on the channel. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's not like my opening was my opening knowledge was really all that impressive there. But you know, once you write a book and it takes you 4 years, you're pretty reluctant to play that stuff anymore. All right, I gotta call it a night. I'm like. I just decided to have fun and record. I'm clearly not in the mindset to play good chess right now. So I am going to finish my scotch and go play with Mort, who's out cold on the floor right now. I hope you guys have a great Friday, a great Saturday. Enjoy your weekend. And I will try and be back with more educational content than what was displayed here sometime this weekend. Bye, guys.